Granblue Fantasy Versus is a fighting game by Arc System Works, but also a fighting game RPG with a robust story mode. When talking about this game, people mostly talk about the fighting system and how it's trying to welcome new fighting game players by allowing beginners to do special moves with a single button and a cooldown system. But a big push this game is making is towards this RPG mode, which just isn't being talked about enough. So today, I want to break down everything we know about this RPG mode, since a lot of people still don't even know that this is a thing. Let's go. This video is brought to you by Ridge Wallets. Ridge is a small and slick wallet meant to streamline what you carry but always have what you need. It fits in your pocket a lot better than a traditional wallet because of its size, and having been using it myself for a couple of months now, I'll probably never go back to my old ways. Besides, the wallet looks amazing. You can choose from many different styles in the store, and Ridge is absolutely sure that you'll enjoy their wallets so much that they're offering free returns if you don't like the wallet, and a lifetime guarantee if you decide to keep it. And of course, shipping is 100% free. The wallets are the star of their store, but they do have some other products that make traveling a lot easier, and you can get anything from their store with a 10% discount by adding promo code Globku10 at checkout. Thank you, Ridge, for sponsoring this video. When you launch the game, you'll have access to different game modes, from local versus to online lobbies, and of course, story mode, or whatever they end up calling it. This mode will feature a brand new Granblue Fantasy story. If you've played the mobile game, if you've watched the anime, this won't just be a story you've seen before with the new coat of paint, it is completely and brand new. And since one of the game's main goals is to introduce a new audience to the world of Granblue Fantasy, it's reasonable to expect the story will introduce you to all the characters, and it will be a self-contained story that can be enjoyed by people who aren't familiar with this universe. I mean, I've watched everything the anime had to show so far, and I wouldn't say I'm particularly familiar with this universe, so I hope the game does a good job with that. The plot summary goes something along the lines of: chaos has befallen the Sky Realm, leaving Gran no choice but to fight against his former allies. In order for him to identify the source of the growing havoc and save his comrades, the airship Grand Cypher takes flight once again into uncharted skies. The story will be fully voiced in both Japanese and English, so rejoice, dub fans. This story is mostly told through two types of cutscenes: the dialogue cutscenes, where you can see the character models standing next to each other as text scrolls by with a visual novel style, and fully animated CG cutscenes. Usually in these types of games, most of the cutscenes will be the visual novel styled ones, and these CG cutscenes are a bit more sparse, but to know the full ratio, we'll have to wait for the final game. And that's everything about the story itself, so let's talk about mechanics. Let's talk about this RPG component. The gameplay is still a fighting game. You still play on a 2D plane, but your character gains some extra abilities they don't have in Versus mode. They get damage numbers which can change based on stats. They have customizable equipment, and the fights aren't your typical one-on-one battles. They can feature a variety of things, so let's start from the beginning. When you enter this RPG mode, you get access to this menu. The first item you see is quests. Once you select that item, you'll select the area you want to go to, and each area will have a set of quests. Some of these quests will progress your story, others just seem to be optional. It is an RPG after all, so you'll want to do some extra activities for more customization, more skills, and of course, more XP. Each mission has a rank associated. If you get the S rank on each mission, you'll get more rewards out of them, and the missions come in many different types. The first quest simply says that you must defeat all enemies. It says it twice. Don't ask me why. The second quest says you have to catch a runaway goblin. Don't ask me how this plays. There's no footage of that yet. The third quest is to defeat all enemies again, and the fourth quest is a boss battle. But instead of looking at quest descriptions, let's actually watch some of the quest types that we've already seen. But know that there might be more, and I'll enjoy the surprise. But to give you a taste, you have battles where you fight against multiple weaker enemies. They'll be coming for you from both sides of the screen, and they'll die with a couple of combos. My main fear with these quests is how well the game will turn your character around in these situations. How will the game decide if your character needs to face left or right? Hopefully it's not too frustrating. These enemies actually have some variety. We have the simple foot soldiers, but we also have some goblins with shield and magic. Hang on, is this the runaway goblin? And you've also got these huge boss fights. We actually have a decent chunk of a fight on Twitter, the boss fight versus Yggdrasil, and as you can see, there are some interesting mechanics at work here. The boss summons rocks from the ground, which you have to avoid or block as you deal damage to the boss itself. The boss also has projectiles and summons a branch that shoots a laser, making you choose where to focus your damage. The boss's health bar also seems split into different phases, and the boss does enter an overdrive mode at some point, so different phases could have even more attacks. And the thing about boss fights is that not not all of them need to be these huge monsters. We also got a clip of a Lancelot boss fight where he's got the exact same moveset as the regular character in Versus, but a lot more health, and he does armor through some attacks. So if he decides to just not stand still and take it, this could be a very tough fight. And at this point, you've probably already noticed that there's more than one character fighting these bosses sometimes. And that's because you can play this RPG mode solo, all by yourself, or you can do it with a friend. You have local and online co-op as well, and this whole mode can be experienced like that. Let's move on to the customization. It is an RPG, but keep in mind it's also a fighting game. You're not gonna get JRPG levels of customization here. The first item on this customization menu says character. That's where you select the character you want to customize. Once you select it, you'll get a list of all your characters, and as you select a character, the first item lets you choose your weapon color or weapon skin, and this color and skin isn't just for RPG mode, you can actually unlock colors and skins to use in Versus mode as well. So even if all you care about is Versus, there's actually a reason for you to play this RPG mode as well. And the final item on the sub menu is the one that makes it your main character. So in the trailer, they just switched from Gran to Catalina as the main character. And the item we skipped, the second item on this sub menu, is to level up your weapon, which is also the second item of the main menu. It takes you to this screen, and this is something that's still a bit confusing to me. I'll definitely need a tutorial to understand this better. But apparently, this is actually based on the mobile game. So maybe someone in the comments who played the mobile game can explain this better. Here you have a list of all your weapons. They have elemental affinities, which will surely come into play, but as you select a weapon, there are many ways to upgrade it. You can simply level it up with money, which is what is done in the trailer, but you can also increase its level cap and buff its skill effects. Again, this is what I understood from these menus and the trailer, but I'm not 100% solid on this. Moving on to the third menu item, we have support action. You'll be able to equip 2 bonus skills on your character to actually use in combat. These can be healing or debuffs. For instance, this screen right here, we have a healing ability and an attack and defense debuff applied to all enemies. These are the equipped abilities. Then on the right, we have refresh effect for all allies, which I believe is the cooldown, removing debuffs, granting debuff immunity, and giving everyone access to their super bound arts. And yeah, once you equip them, they'll be available for you to use on your many quests. The fourth item says inventory. We don't have any screen that shows us the inventory, but it's probably the place where you can see everything you collected so far. And the final item is also sort of a mystery right now. It's called Battle Stamp, so maybe something like an emote that you can use in battles. Again, this can be played through online co-op, so maybe you can use stamps as a way to communicate with the other player, like Dragon Ball Fighter stamps, but actually usable in battle. Story mode only, please. Don't clutter my Versus screen. That's about everything we know so far about this game, but it's important to say that this is not the first time Arc System Works has tried something like this. And last time around, it didn't work out so well. I'm confident this time will be different for many reasons I'll get into, but for as promising as this sounds, it's kind of exactly what we thought Dragon Ball Fighter Story Mode was going to be. You fight through story mode, your characters level up. You don't have active skills to use in battle, but you could equip some passive buffs, like having more damage or regenerating health in battle. But that didn't turn out great, did it? It was an absolute slog to play through. The skills ended up being very secondary. The main thing that mattered was your character level, and even the boss fights were nothing more than your characters fighting against a single character that was a higher level than usual. Now, I do have better hopes for Granblue Fantasy Versus. Even if we've already seen all the mission types in the RPG mode, that's already way more than what Dragon Ball FighterZ had. The customization seems a bit more robust too, with a weapon leveling up system, and besides, this seems to be one of the game's main focus. One of its main goals is to bring Granblue Fantasy players from the mobile game to the fighting game, and also new Granblue Fantasy fans. And for that, you need to make this story mode a priority, something they absolutely did not need to do with Dragon Ball FighterZ. And that might actually be the reason why this fighting game is only launching with 11 characters. A lot of their time and resources were put into this RPG mode, and of course, this is only speculation at this point, but bottom line is, I'm optimistic. Being able to play this in co-op already makes it 100 times better than the Dragon Ball FighterZ story mode. Just don't forget that this is Arc Systems, famous for their bad netcode. So if you're playing co-op, your friend better live close to you. And if he does, don't forget to tell him about Rich. Their wallets are awesome, and you can get a 10% discount with promo code Globku10. So now that the video is over, what did you think of this RPG mode? Are you also optimistic, or do you only care about the Versus mode? Let me know in the comments, and as always, thank you very much for watching. My name is Globku, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.